of July to the 30th of September 2024, the 17 community reported serious crimes showed an overall decline of 5.1%. Specifically, conduct crime decreased by 3%. Property-related crime saw a reduction of 9.9%. And the other serious crimes decreased by 3.4%. Focusing on conduct crime, statistics indicate that murder decreased by 5.8%, sexual offences by 2.5%, and robbery with aggravating circumstances by 8.8%. We note this general decline and in specific categories of crime, not in fact categories, specific crimes as it were. Additionally, rape decreased by 3.1%, while robbery at residential premises and non-residential premises decreased by 1.3% and 21.1% respectively. Among the 17 community-reported crimes or crime categories monitored, the only increase observed in attempted murder, assault with grievous bodily harm, intent, and commercial crime, which rose by 2.2%, 1.0%, and 18.5% respectively. Now, despite these gains, the persistence of high crime rates underscores the urgency of doubling our effort on law enforcement, prevention, and community involvement. But we've made certain achievements which are worth noting. Since the inception of the 7th administration, divisions which we have sought to strengthen, in particular, crime intelligence, technology, and forensic unit or division. In all of the three, we're not where we should be. We know that. But that's where we're focusing, because we know that when we get to a level where we want them to be, our achievements will even be higher than it is at the moment.
All right, to speak more on this, let's now welcome crime and violent expert, Professor Jacob Mofokeng. Prof, a very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for your time. Just talk to us about what do the latest stats reveal? I mean, in the main, 17 crime categories showed a decrease of some kind, but police still recorded over 160,000, close to 170,000, in fact, serious crimes.
Yes, good afternoon, and good afternoon to your viewers. Yes, well, what we have presented with is something that really we have to celebrate looking forward, because, you know, for many reporting cycles, we have been confronted with something that really demoralized us. But this high reporting, it could be that, you know, the communities began to believe in the leadership of Minister. And then hence, you know, with the emphasis on whole of society approach towards tackling crime, you know, it's now yielding possible results as it has been presented to us today. So we just need to, you know, look forward in terms of the second reporting, you know, as he praised the 7th administration, that, you know, it really brought something that we were looking forward to. And then hopefully that those crime statistics that are reported, then with the next reporting, then we can see, you know, the reduction in terms of, you know, not repetition of, you know, keep on repeating, arresting same people. He mentioned operational challenge that, you know, despite the high reporting of people being arrested, we don't see how then that value chain yields in the conviction. So whereby correctional services as well as other, you know, role players within the criminal justice system needs to work together. But I think, you know, as you highlighted, that it means that he has to then report on whether there will be a reduction towards, you know, assault, GBH, you know, towards women as well as children, because those areas are still, elusive, for his department to be able to deal with them decisively.
How concerned are you that, given that, yes, we have, these crime stats and they show some improvement, that, we still probably are still looking at underreporting? And a later study of the HSRC, in fact, showed that there is still a large scale of underreporting of violent and sexual crimes specifically.
Yes, it remains a concern because, research indicates that, the victims, there will always be face secondary victimization, where the questions that they have been asked, as well as the resources at various stations to be able to, to protect them, as well as, whatever that has been processed at the scene of the crime, is not contaminated. He made mention of enhancement of forensic, technology, as well as, crime intelligence. So these are the areas where probably, we need to be able to see, that it is working, where people, victims of rape, sexual assault, they will be served adequately, not that they will have to wait for probably longest time, for the perpetrators to be able to prosecute it. So it talks about the confidence then in his leadership, as well as other role players where they have to, bring their weight towards, saving the victims.
And just speaking of other stakeholders and role players, he's also spoke about illegal mining being a serious threat to the economy. So in light of what's happening currently in Stilfontein, what kind of interventions are needed here? Because we know that illegal mining in this country is a huge problem, and it does not only involve the SAPS in the fight against it.
Yes, it needs the Department of Minerals, it needs, Department of Home Affairs, but also it will need community members, because at the end of the day, they complain that, their loved ones are not working. So it also brings the government, in the picture, that what is it that has been done to be able to alleviate, unemployment. We are aware now that the youth amounts to almost 60% of unemployment, of which 20% is for those that are totally demoralized, that they cannot see the perspective of getting, formal employment. So these are the people that will eventually be recruited to function within, illegal mining, sector. He made mention of, the dangers that it will pose, and I was thinking about, in a case where the same strategies that are being used underground can be used by other, networks to move illegal firearms, because it's something that is very dangerous, and it has to be, looked at holistically, because illegal mining, as well as other, criminal networks, are thriving in South Africa. You look at human trafficking, you look at, drug trafficking, even though there are isolated cases whereby, it is mentioned that, drug mules that are also involving women are being detected. But there's a huge problem of drug trafficking, as well as other organized crime activities, including illegal mining. So it has to also revolve around, if 60% of young people are not really being considered, so this will really keep on escalating, because the issue of illegal mining is something that has been there with us for longest time, but it looks like the government then is frustrated and doesn't know how then to respond adequately. So these are the challenges that Minister Mchunu and his colleagues has to look at, to be able to bring a lasting and impacting, changes in terms of dealing with crime and criminality in South Africa.
Just looking at the other successes, Prof, very quickly as we wrap our conversation, in light of it being, festive season time, other successes that were recorded here include common robbery and aggravated robbery, down 6.2% and 8.8% respectively. what can we attribute this to? Is it a lot of these operations that are particularly, introduced around the festive season period? I mean, obviously we know that this period of reporting was between July to September, but what can we attribute this to?
Well, how I see it is about his approach to say that, SABC cannot really respond to all these challenges alone. And now the lifting of socks by other, role players to be able to come into the picture, because, throughout his submissions, he, despite praising, the law enforcement officers that they are working tirelessly to combat crime, and the results, show that collaborative efforts are making the difference. He emphasized that there is a need for other stakeholders really to come to the table, and that's why he made mention that it is not only the effort of the SABC. So we see now, when he came over to the office, then he was talking about collaboration, and even now, he attributed that success to collaboration. So we are looking forward then to the festive season, where probably again, it is what he reiterated on Operation Chanela to say, how is it going to help, to arrest many people when actually correctional centers or correctional services are not coming to the table? So it has to be that, symbolic relationship that, other, stakeholders need to come, so that you arrest a person. Like it did indicate that, how will we feel that someone is arrested for a serious offense and then that person again, will be committing other offenses.
Prof, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Crime and violent expert, Professor Jacob Mofokeng, just weighing in on those crime stats.